We'll start with the prayer. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptapratana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिते नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुकुं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् हरि ओम तत्सत्. You all are welcome today for Bhagavad Gita class. We are reading chapter 18, text 36. We'll read it together. Sukham tva idinam trividam
सुखं त्वा इदिनं त्रिविधं
shinu me bharatar sabha
शृणु मे भरतर्षभ
abhyasadramate yatra
अव्यासाद्रमते यत्र
dukhantam cha nigacchati.
दुःखान्तं च निगच्छति.
Krishna is telling to Arjuna, O best of the Bharatas. We were just discussing last week, Arjuna is not an ordinary person. Arjuna is not an ordinary person. He is an extremely intelligent and very powerful devotee of Krishna. What is his power? I was just watching. There was a movie called as Arjuna. So when they were actually in Agyatvas for 12 years and then 1 year in incognito, so they were living in Virat Desh. And then what was Duryodhana's plot? That he wanted to actually send them for another 12 years, because if they are caught in the last year, they will have to again go for another 1 year. So that was his plot. So he sent all his assistants in a hidden way everywhere, and somehow they figured out on the last day. And then Duryodhana immediately over the night attacked Virat Desh. And then because they were in incognito, they were in a different posture, different things. Some of them are, Arjuna was like a lady actually living in that Virat Desh. And then when they attacked, actually Arjuna threw the arrow at near the feet of his guru. So everyone realized this is Arjuna. So he was extremely powerful. So Krishna is telling, oh best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about three kind of happiness. Very important. You see, happiness is is also very relative, and we will talk about that in this thing, how they are also could be goodness, passion, and ignorance. So Krishna is telling what kind of what hear from me three kind of happiness by which the conditioned souls enjoys. Conditioned souls is us, how we enjoy, and by which we sometimes come to the end of all distress, right? So this is going to be a very interesting three verses following this just next one. So Prabhupada is writing in the purport, conditioned soul, which is actually us, tries we try to enjoy material happiness again and again. Thus we chew the chewed. Sometimes, you eat the chewing gum and then you completely juice it out. But what is our situation? After chewing, you throw this chewing gum and again put it in your mouth and again chewing. How? We went through 84 lakh of species and different times, either sometimes in the body of a bird, sometimes in the body of a animal, sometimes in the body of men, or sometimes in the body of a woman. We have done everything what we are doing in this life. There is nothing special we have done in this life which we did not do in previous life. So, what is that? We are doing the same thing which we did. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning about. What is that? Chewing the chewed. But sometimes, in the course of such enjoyment, we become relieved from material entanglement by associating with great soul. Sometime back, I was talking about the story. Thank you, Satyaji, for joining in. So, sometime back, we were discussing the story of Mrigrari. He was a hunter. He was killing the animals. And he came in connection with Narada Muni. Narada Muni told him to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He told him. But he wasn't able to do that. And then Narada Muni gave him the idea how to chant. And then finally, the same person was completely transformed. That's the power of coming in contact with people who are very saintly, who are pure devotees. In other words, a conditioned soul is always engaged in some type of sense gratification. But when we understand by good association that it is only a repetition of same thing, then we are awakened to our real Krishna consciousness. If we are thinking we are working 9 to 5, we are working 9 to 9, sometime foaming to our mouth, to earn money. Do you think we are doing it for first time? No, we have done it in multiple times. But we think, oh no, I want to be millionaire. I want to be trillionaire in this lifetime. I want to have a big bank balance. I want bigger house. I want a bigger car. I want better facilities. But we have done it all together in all previous lives. There's nothing special we are doing, right? So he is sometimes relieved from such repetitive so-called happiness because one person realized that what the real happiness is all about. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a story of Pingala. She was a prostitute. So she was a prostitute. One night she was waiting. Someone will come to satisfy my senses and enrich me with money. Waiting. The whole night passed. And there is a thought came to her heart. What am I doing? I'm waiting for someone, wasting my time and life, wasting the purpose of life altogether. She had a transformation of heart. She had a transformation of heart. And then she went to a jungle, she went to the forest and begging sadhus to for repenting about her life and asking, how should I purify my life? How do I come closer to Krishna rather than wasting my life like that? And she became a very transformed devotee. So, one or the other day, we have to come to a conclusion nothing of this material world is going to give us happiness. Very difficult thing to actually perceive. Because what is our idea? Thanksgiving Day is coming now, Black Friday is coming, I'll buy more stuff. which will make me happy. I'll buy a new phone, I'll buy a new car, I'll buy a new house, I'll buy new accessories. That is going to make me happy. But unfortunately, none of these things are going to ever give us happiness what we are looking for. The happiness is is within the heart. We cannot get it from outside. Like there is a deer inside the throat of a deer. This is a special deer. She or he had a fragrance inside his throat, and when he smells he want to, thinking like a musk, he is looking for outside, and in that search he leaves his body, but where is that musk? Is within his throat. So that's why the happiness which everyone is looking outside, in movies, in money, in houses, in opposite sex, in luxuries, in earning money, that is not outside. It's within our heart, right? So now coming back to the actual verse which Krishna is speaking about, we will read Yattad agre visham iva
यत्तत् अग्रे विषमिव
pariname mritopamam
परिणामे मृतोपमम्
Tatsukham satvikam proktam
तत्सुखं सात्विकं प्रोक्तम्
Atma buddhi prasadajam.
आत्मबुद्धिप्रसादजम्.
What is the translation? Krishna is telling to Arjuna that which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to the self realization is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. Very interesting. When we come to spiritual life, like I remember when I was told, then I was told, why don't you chant? I'm like, I don't have a time. Somehow I got convinced and I started chanting one round. We found it very difficult. 10 minutes itself was very difficult to actually chant just one round. Then slowly, I wasn't willing to leave tea, onion, garlic, and all that stuff. So I continued chanting, because people said, don't worry about these things, they'll automatically come. Don't think too much about it. And slowly, that thought came to my mind. I don't want to eat this stuff at home. Maybe if I have to go out, I will eat. So I stopped cooking at home, all the onion, garlic, and all that stuff. Slowly. Even outside, I was just feeling I don't want to eat onion and garlic. And then slowly, number of rounds increased from 1 to 2 and finally reached to 16, reading scriptures and taking initiation from a guru, and then taking a lifelong commitment that I will practice this process. Not easy to wake up early in the morning. Not easy to actually come to Bhagavad Gita classes while you can sit comfortably on your couch and watch some Netflix stuff. But one decides to actually go against the will of the mind, which is asking us to go away from Krishna, away from spirituality, taking that away and then finally committing oneself to practice bhakti and practice this process. So it may apparently look like a poison in the beginning, waking up early in the morning, performing these things. And ultimately the end is it tastes like a nectar. And the happiness which is driven by that is considered to be in mode of goodness. Prabhupada mentions in the pursuit of self realization, one has to follow many rules and regulations to control the mind and senses and to concentrate the mind on the self. All these procedures are very difficult, bitter like poison. But if one is successful in following the regulation and comes to transcendental position, he begins to drink real nectar and enjoys life. Very important. There are two kind of efforts. One it is called as prayas and second is called as shreyas. 99% of the people in this world are behind prayers. What is prayers? Not a car. Prayers means short term goals, short term gains. People want to focus on how can I make money much faster. You see, gamble, they say, oh, we are giving $5 million today. We are giving these cars. We are giving that. Oh, maybe I'll get it. I want to go, and ultimately, whatever little they have, they will lose that money also. Right? That's prayers. Shreyas is a long term gain. An intelligent person who understands what am I going to gain out of it. If I go back to spiritual world, I don't have to struggle for a 9 to 5 job. I don't have to pay my mortgage. I don't have to take care of things from 9 to 5. I taking care of so many financial and health and then other relationship obligations. Not that I want to run away from that, but why am I struggling so much? So the wise person who realizes, I want to give an end to this struggle so that I don't have to take another but to again start A for apple, B for bat, C for Charlie, and D for dog. I've already passed through these stages. Why do I do that again and again and again? So that wise person thinks about how do I get out. And that's the time when he starts practicing and he or she reaches to a stage where now everything which we are practicing tastes like honey. Like Rupa Goswami. Who is Rupa Goswami? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. He is one of the associate of Lord Chaitanya. But in Krishna Leela, who is Rupa Goswami? Rupa Manjari. She's a Manjari assisting Radha Krishna's pastime. He is telling when I chant Krishna's holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It feels like I need thousands of tongues. I need thousands of ears to taste the holy name. But for us, our situation is like jaundice. Even the sweetest sugar cane tastes bitter. Not that the sugar cane is bitter, the sugar cane is sweet, but because of jaundice, one loses the taste and everything tastes bitter. That is our situation when we are chanting Krishna's holy name now. But when we come to that stage, by the mercy of the Lord and Guru and Gauranga and all Vaishnavas, one really want to chant all the time. There was one devotee who couldn't stop chanting. So when he would go in the toilet, he will he will his tongue he will bit it between his teeth so that he doesn't, because according to him he shouldn't be chanting Krishna's holy name in bathroom. So one boy told him that Krishna's holy name, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nij Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Smanena Kalaha. Krishna has invested all his energy into the holy name which can be chanted anywhere and at any time. So you don't have to control your tongue. Let it go. And then he was like, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is the situation. So when one realizes what the real nectar is, that happiness which he derives from practicing bhakti is real happiness. Any questions so far? Okay. Let's read text 38. Vishayendriya samyogat
Shayendriya samyogat
yattad agre amritopamam
yattat agre amrtopapam
pariname visham eva
pariname vishamiva
tat sukham rajasam smritam.
tatsukam rajasam smrutam.
The happiness which is derived from the contact of senses with their object and which appears like a nectar at first but poison at the end is said to be the nature of passion. There was a there was a gentleman. He had a blood sugar. So His blood sugar went really high. He was admitted in the hospital. Lot of days struggled with all injection and all that stuff. He came out of hospital, was walking on the street. He saw a sweet shop. He saw a gulab jamun. He saw rasgullas. The mind said, man, you should have it. Intelligence said, just now you were in hospital getting so much injections just because you ate too much sugar. Please don't do that. Mind says, that's okay, man. You take more medicine, but you will be, who can tolerate this not having these rasgullas and gulab jamun? Let's just have one. So this guy went to the sweet shop, took one gulab jamun, two gulab jamun, three gulab jamun, rasgulla, second rasgulla, third rasgulla. What is the outcome? Again same hospital, again the same bed, again the same injections. So, what is the happiness which actually is mode of passion? Initially, with because the senses are coming in contact with the sense objects, it appears like nectar in the beginning. Oh man, I'm having gulab jamun, and poison at the end. That is a happiness which is in mode of passion. Prabhupada gives an example. Young men and young women meet, and the senses drive the young man to see her, to touch her, and to have sexual intercourse. In the beginning, this may be very pleasing to the senses, but at the end, or after some time, it becomes just like a poison. They are separated, or there is a divorce, there is lamentation, there is sorrow. Such happiness is always in the mode of passion. Happiness derived from the combination of senses and sense objects is always a cause of distress and should be avoided by all means. Understanding what is my shreyas, not looking for prayers. Right? Let's read text 39. Yat agre chanu bande cha
यद् अग्रे चानुबन्धे च
यदग्रेच्छानुबन्धे च
sukham mohanam atmanaha
सुखं
सुखं
मोहनम्
मोहनम् आत्मनः
आत्मना
nidralasya pramodotham
निद्रा
pramadotam
निद्रालस्य
निद्रालस्य
प्रमादोत्तम्
प्रमादोद्यम्
tattamasam udaratam.
तत्तामसम् उदाहृतम्
तत्तामसमुदाहृतम्
And that happiness which is blind to self realization, blind to self realization, which means I have nothing to do with God conscious, which is delusion from the beginning to the end, which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be in the nature of ignorance. Nothing to do with Krishna con, nothing to do with spirituality. Just do mundane things, right? Those are that, and whatever happiness driven by that is in mode of ignorance, right? People have a philosophy. Life is like an ice cream. Eat it before it melts. What is the opposite philosophy? Life is like a candle. Give light to others before it melts. What is a contradiction? First one is living a selfish life. Everything revolves around I, me, and mine. I have nothing to do with spirituality. I just want to enjoy life to the fullest. Right? That is the unfortunate thing. Prabhupada mentions in the purport, one who takes pleasure in laziness and in sleep is certainly in mode of darkness, ignorance. And one who has no idea how to act, how not to act, is also in the mode of ignorance. For the person in mode of ignorance, everything is illusion. There is no happiness either in the beginning or at the end. For the person in mode of passion, there might be some kind of ephemeral happiness, which is very tiny, minute in the beginning, and at the end it is distress. But for person who are in mode of ignorance, there is only distress, both in the beginning and at the end. That's the unfortunate situation. Any questions or comments so far? Okay. Let's move to the next verse. Text 40. Natad asti prathivyam va
न तदस्ति पृथिव्यां वा
divi deveshu va punaha
दिवि दिवि देवेषु वा पुनः
Sattvam prakriti jair muktam
सत्त्वं प्रकृतिजैर्मुक्तं
yad abhi syat tribhir gunahi.
यद्येभिः शास्त्रीभिर्गुणैः
There is there is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary system which is freed from these three modes born of material nature. Can you imagine? We saw that diagram, we saw that photo where we are talking about all planets. The topmost planet is called as Satyaloka, where Lord Brahma resides. He lived trillions of years. From that place to Patala Loka, which is the hellish planet underneath the earth planet we are living in, everything is temporary. Everything has a beginning and everything has an end. That is how this world is designed. Everything is covered by three modes of material nature. Right? That is what we have been discussing about. How everything is tinged with modes of nature. Whether we talk about austerity, whether we talk about happiness, and various, whether we talk about charity, is everything is tinged by three modes of material nature. Text 41. Brahmana Kshatriya Visham
ब्राह्मणक्षत्रिय विशां
Shudranam Cha
शूद्
Parantapa
शूद्राणां च परन्तप
Karmani Pravibhaktani
कर्माणि प्रविभक्तानि
Swabhava Prabhavair Gune.
स्वभावप्रभवैर्गुणैः
Brahmanas, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, and Shudras are distinguished by qualities born of their own natures in accordance with material mode. O chastisers of the enemy. Brahmanas are supposed to be in mode of goodness. Kshatriya are mix of goodness and passion. Vaishya is purely passion, mainly passion, and Shudras is mainly ignorance. Right? Text 42. Samodamastapa Saucham
समोदमस्तपः शौचम्
Sh- Shantir Arjevameva Cha
क्षान्तिराज्येवमेव च
Jnanam Vijnanamastikhyam
ज्ञानं विज्ञानमास्तिक्यं
Brahma Karma Swabhavajam.
ब्रह्मकर्म स्वभावजम्
Now in this verse there are qualities of Brahmanas being mentioned. Brahmana is who practice peacefulness, self control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. Right? You see, when Parikshit Maharaj went to the forest and he was hungry, so he saw a rishi who was actually doing meditation. So he was thinking, seeing the king, he should offer me some water or something. He didn't offer. So what did Parikshit Maharaj put? He put the snake around that rishi. So when this rishi woke up, he saw a snake and he just threw it. He knew what happened, but he just ignored. But his son, who was also Brahmana, he actually cursed Parikshit Maharaj to die in 7 days. What is missing is clearly an example about tolerance. You see, the father was tolerating, however, he couldn't tolerate the son. and he immediately cursed, and his father became really angry. You don't curse a king like Parikshit Maharaj to die for a small problem. That also, he just put a dead snake around me. It's not that there was a living snake, right? So, this tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness, these are the qualities which Brahmanas practice. Next, we will read about Kshatriya. Shauryam tejo dhritir dakshyam
शौर्यं तेजो धृतिर्दक्ष्यं
yude chapi apalayanam
ये चापि अपालयनं
dhanam ishvara bhavascha
दानम् ईश्वरभावश्च
tatram karma swabhavajam.
क्षत्रं कर्म स्वभावजम्
Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of the work for Kshatriyas, right? They are heroic. Their determination is very strong. We were just talking about Arjuna's example. Now we will read Vaishya. Rishi Gorakshavrat Vanijyam
कृषिगोरक्ष्यवाणिज्यं
Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam
वैश्यकर्म स्वभावजम्
Paricharyatmakam Karma
परिचर्यात्मकं कर्म
Shudrasyapi Swabhavajam.
शूद्रस्यापि स्वभावजम्
What does the Vaishya and Shudras do? Farming, cow protection, and business are natural work for Vaishyas. And for Shudras, there are labor and service to others. One may say, where do I fit in? You clearly see we fit into a fourth category, which is Shudra. We work for others. We do labor work for others, whether it's a white collared or whatever it is. So that's where we fit in. Let's read next verse. Swe swe karman karm swe se karmani abhirataha
स्वे स्वे कर्मण्यभिरतः
samsiddhim labate naraha
संसिद्धिं लभते नरः
swakarmanirata siddhim
स्वकर्मनिरतः सिद्धिं
yatha vindanti tat shrunu.
यथा विन्दन्ति तच्छृणु
By following the qualities of work, everyone can become perfect. Now, please hear from me how this can be done. We will read the next verse. Yata pravarti bhutanam
यतः प्रवृत्तिभूतानां
yena sarvam idam tatam
येन सर्वम् इदं ततं
swakarmana tam abhyarchya
स्वकर्मणा त्वम् अभ्यर्च्य
siddhim vindati manavaha.
सिद्धिं विन्दन्ति मानवः
By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. When everything is aligned based on the yoga, everything is done for the pleasure of the Lord, then that is purifying. That will take us to perfection. Prabhupada mentions in the purport, in the 15th chapter, all living beings are fragmental part and parcel of Supreme Lord. We discussed about that. Aham bija pratapita. Thus, the Supreme Lord is the beginning of all living entities. He is the one who creates all of us. This is confirmed in Vedanta Sutra, Janmadi Asyataha. The Supreme Lord is therefore the beginning of life of every living entity. As stated in 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord, he has two energies, the external and internal, which is all pervading. Therefore, one should worship Supreme Lord with his energies. Generally, the Vaishnava devotees worship the Supreme Lord with his internal energy. We do not worship Krishna with Durga. We worship Krishna with Srimati Radharani. She is an internal energy. External energy is the perverted reflection. External energy is a background, but the Supreme Lord, by the expansion of his plenary portion as Paramatma, is situated everywhere. Everywhere, in every atom, Lord is present as Paramatma. He is the super soul of all demigods, all human being, all animal, and everywhere. One should therefore know that the part and parcel of Supreme Lord, one has his duty to render service to the Supreme Lord because he is providing us everything. Everyone should be engaged in devotional service to the Lord and full Krishna consciousness. That is what is recommended. Right now, we do not practice Krishna consciousness with that intensity by 24 by 7. Everyone should think that he is engaged in a particular type of occupation by Rishikesha, who is a controller of senses. And by the result of work in which one is engaged, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna should be worshipped. A very, very important. Ultimately, purpose is to please Krishna. Sam Siddhi Haritoshanam. If one thinks always in this way in full Krishna consciousness, by the grace of the Lord, he becomes fully aware of everything. What does that mean? He understands everything is happening by the will of the Lord, and he wants to follow whatever comes in his or her own accord. That's how he pleased Krishna. Tesham aham samudarta. Yeah. The Supreme Lord himself takes charge of delivering such a devotee in whatever situation that person may be. Krishna is eager to deliver him or her. So that's an important part, that Krishna is such a loving father. He is so eagerly waiting for us to go in his abode and not to struggle anymore. But we, being envious from Krishna, we saying, I don't want to come there. I just want to stay here. I want to enjoy. And on the name of enjoyment, we suffer miserably here. Any questions or comments? Okay. Let's read text 47. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha
Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha
paradharmat swa anustitat
Paradharmastva Anushtitat
स्वभावानियतं कर्म
Swabhavaniyatam Karma
कुर्वन्नप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
Kurvannapnoti Kilbisham.
It is better to engage in one's own occupation even though one may perform it imperfectly than to accept another occupation and perform it perfectly. When Dronacharya was approached by, who was that guy, was very other than Karna, actually before the Karna, who actually he asked his index finger from him. Who was that person, you remember?
Ekalavya Prabhu.
Huh? Eklavya, correct. Who was Eklavya? He was a Shudra and he wanted to learn archery, and he was a very intelligent guy. He had a lot of skills. He learned it, and then Dronacharya, he said, Dronacharya, what should I give you? Dronacharya said, give me an index finger, because you can't do archery without your index finger or thumb, I guess. I forgot the finger he asked. Because if a wrong thing is given to a if a right thing is given to a wrong person, it will be utilized wrongly because that person doesn't know how to use it. If you give a knife to a terrorist, he will use it for killing people. But if the same knife is given to a chef, he can make something really wonderful. So is knife a problem? No. Problem is how's one's mentality in using that, which can actually make things perverted. Right? So that is what is being spoken. So Prabhupada translation, Krishna is saying, better to do one's own occupation rather than doing someone else's occupation. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reaction because you are doing your swadharma. If I'm a Kshatriya, I behave like and do activities based on Kshatriya. All of us are Shudra, so we are doing Shudra. Ultimately, everyone has to come to the platform of Brahmana. But until one is Brahmana, he shouldn't try to do that. Correct, Prabhupada is writing in the purport, very elaborate purport. One's occupational duties prescribed in Bhagavad Gita. As already discussed in previous verse, the duties of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra are prescribed according to their particular modes of nature. One should not imitate others' duty. A man who is by nature attracted to the kind of work done by Shudra should not artificially claim to be a Brahmana, although he may have been born into Brahmana family. In this way, one should work according to his own nature. No work is abominable if performed in the service of Supreme Lord. The occupational duty of the Brahmana is certainly in mode of goodness. But if a person is not by nature in mode of goodness, he should not imitate the occupational duty of Brahmana. What will happen if a Kshatriya becomes a Brahmana? That will be a chaos, right? So, for a Kshatriya administrator, there are so many abominable things. A Kshatriya has to be violent to kill his enemies. And sometimes a Kshatriya has to tell lies for the sake of diplomacy. Such violence and duplicity accompany political affairs. But a Kshatriya is not supposed to give up his occupational duty and try to perform the duties of Brahmana. One should act to satisfy the Supreme Lord. For example, Arjuna was a Kshatriya. He wanted to go to the forest. Krishna said no. He was hesitating to fight the other party. But if such fighting is performed for the sake of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there need to be no fear of degradation. In the business field, also, sometimes a merchant has to tell so many lies to make a profit. If he does not do so, there can be no profit. Sometimes a merchant says, "Oh, my dear customer, for you I'm making no profit." We know that in India we use that so many times, we hear that. But if I don't earn, then I cannot run my business, right? But one should know that without the profit, merchant cannot exist. Therefore, it should be taken as a simple lie if a merchant says that he is not making a profit. But the merchant should not think that because he is engaged in an occupation in which he is telling lies is compulsory, he should give up his profession and pursue the profession of Brahmana. Now imagine if the Brahmana started speaking lie, then that will be a chaos. Ideally, and now situation is even worse. This is not recommended. Whether one is Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra doesn't matter. If he serves by his work the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even Brahmanas who perform different type of sacrifice sometimes must kill animal because sometimes animal are sacrificed in such ceremonies, which is not applicable in today's world because there are no Brahmana, pure Brahmanas exist. Similarly, if a Kshatriya engaged in his own occupation kills an enemy, there is no sinful occurred. Again, none of us are Kshatriya, none of the people are in this age are Kshatriya. In the third chapter, these matters have been clearly, elaborately explained. Every man should work for the purpose of yajna, which is to please Lord Vishnu. Anything done for the personal sense gratification is a cause of bondage. The conclusion is that everyone should be engaged according to the particular mode of nature he has acquired. And like we discussed, what is our position right now? We are Shudra. We are here to serve others. That is how it is designed. Any questions or comments? Okay, today's last verse. Sahajam karma kaunteya
सहजं कर्म
Bhajam
कौन्तेय
karmakaya
sadosham api na tyajet
dosham
सदोषमपि
api
न त्यजेत्
nashe
sarvam bahi doshena
सर्वारम्भा हि दोषेण
Shena
dhumenagnir ish ivavritah.
धूमेनाग्निरिवावृतः
Every endeavor it is covered by some fault, irrelevant of whatever activity we do. Just as fire is covered by a smoke, you cannot say that I need a fire, but should be no smoke. Well, smoke has to be there. That's the side effect of fire. Therefore, one should not give up work born of his nature or son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. In conditioned life, all work is contaminated by material modes of nature, which we discussed before. Even if there is a Brahmana, he has to perform sacrifice in which animal killing is necessary. Similarly, a Kshatriya, however pious he may be, has to fight enemies. He cannot avoid it. Similarly, a merchant, however pious he may be, must sometimes hide his profit to stay in the business, or he may sometimes have to do business on the black market. These things are necessary, one cannot avoid them. Similarly, even though a man is a Shudra serving a bad master, he has to carry out the order of a master, even though it should not be done. That is the situation of this world. Despite these flaws, one should continue to carry out his prescribed duty, for they are born out of his own nature. Prabhupada gives a nice example. A very nice example is given here. Although fire is pure, still there is smoke. Yet smoke does not make the fire impure. Same way, like the sun. Sun may evaporate water, even sometimes urine on the street, but sun doesn't get affected. Even though there is a smoke in the fire, fire is still considered to be purest of all elements. If one prefers to give up the work of Kshatriya and take up the occupation of Brahmana, he is not assured that in the occupation of Brahmana there are no unpleasant duties. A lot of times we want to run away. So this is not the place to run away from one dharma to another one. One may they conclude that the material world, no one can be completely free from the contamination of material nature, which is true. The example of fire and smoke is very appropriate in this connection. When in winter time one takes a stone from the fire, sometimes smoke disturbs the eyes and other parts of the body, but still one must make use of the fire despite disturbing condition. Similarly, one should not give up his natural occupation because there are some disturbing elements. Rather, one should be determined to serve the Supreme Lord by the occupational duty in Krishna consciousness, whatever is my occupational duty. That is the perfectional point. When a particular type of occupation is performed for the satisfaction of Supreme Lord, all the defects in that particular occupation are purified. That's very powerful. What is that? When a particular type of occupation is performed for satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, all the defects in that particular occupations are purified. When the results of work are purified, when connected with devotional service, one becomes perfect in seeing the self within, and that is self realization. That is the power. So, ultimately, the conclusion of these verses we talked about is first we started talking about happiness. So, we talked about three level of happiness. One is goodness, passion, and ignorance. What is in the goodness? That apparently it may look like a poison in the beginning. There are so many inconveniences we have to go through in spiritual life, but ultimately it's a nectar because I can get out of cycle of birth and death. Then what is passion? That in the beginning it may look like a nectar, but at the end it is poison. In ignorance, we talked about there is no concept of God consciousness. Everything is just I, me, and mine. So there is no happiness in the beginning or in the end. Then we talked about everything in this material world is tinged by three modes of material nature. Krishna talked about happiness. And then first happiness we talked about is in goodness, where we perform every activity for pleasure of Krishna. Then passion, I, me, and mine. And then we talked about these four dharmas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And then we studied one should perform his own activities to Swadharma rather than taking another one. And there may be faults associated with whatever activities we are performing, but that is how it is designed. Prabhupada gave an example about a merchant, Vaishya. He may say that I'm going to gain no profit out of it, but he has to say that so that he can run the business and earn profit out of it. Otherwise, he can never run the profit. Any questions or comments before we end up today?
Prabhuji, I just have one question related to the Ekalavya example.
Yeah.
We can see the debate in the internet too, Prabhuji. I mean, a lot
Mm.
of places.
Yeah.
So probably our scriptures or dharma, whatever. I mean, it says that the right quality. I mean, it's based on the quality, right?
Mm.
The four varnashrama. Like I mean,
Yes. Yes.
even a shudra can become a brahmana. So in that case, Prabhuji, why Dronacharya asked Ekalavya? Does he know the future of Ekalavya? Like, he has that power.
Yes. Earlier times, the like we go to school, there were no schools in the earlier times. People would go to Guru's ashram and they will stay there. And Guru and Guru Patni will train them. And Guru Patni, along with Guru, decides which ashram the child should take. Some will go on Brahmachari ashram and then later become sannyasi, but most of them will go on, or some will go to the Grasta ashram and then retire in sannyas. Then why there is this differentiation? Well, it is propensity one has. Who wants to hold things, who want to possess things, it's I, me, and mine, can never become a brahmachari. So he is better to be a grasta, where he just lives for I, me, and mine initially and slowly comes out of it. So they knew what the propensity of the disciple, and based on that, they guide which ashram they should be taking to. So same way when Eklavya was being trained, what happened? He said, "No, you give me your finger," because he realized he is going to use the skill for a wrong purpose. There is a beautiful story, about Karna. So Karna actually got trained from whom? You know that?
Yeah.
Parshuram.
Parshuram.
Correct. He got trained by Parshuram. And then one time, and how he got trained? He said, I am a Brahmana. He got trained. One time, Parshuram was tired. He was massaging the feet or whatever is there. So there was a scorpion came in. And scorpion was sucking the blood of Karna. And he controlled. And when he woke up, Parshuram, he noticed and he said, hold on. How could you control your this thing? You can't be a Brahmana. You have to be a Kshatriya. So you cheated me to get education from me. When the right time comes, all your knowledge will go away. So when the fight happens in Mahabharata, when the right time comes, when Karna is fighting Arjuna, he loses all his knowledge. You see the power here, because the basis of gaining the education is wrong. That's why he got a curse from Parshuram. Same way, Eklavya, Dronacharya realized this is not the right guy. If he has the right thing, then that's the problem. There was there was there was one person, and when Mahabharat war started, I forgot his name. Initially, interestingly, I heard his name in Govardhan Vrindavan also. I forgot his name, what this guy is called as. So he had a boon. Whichever side he will fight, that party will win. So what he decided, he said, I don't want to be biased. When Pandavas are losing, I'll be on Pandava's side. When Kauravas are losing, then I'll be on Kaurava's side. So Krishna came on the way. Krishna realized, man, this is very dangerous. This guy is going to keep changing the sides. Not going to work out. Krishna came before even the war started, and he said, "What should I offer you, Krishna? Whatever you will ask, I'll give you. Don't participate in the war." Krishna is very smart. Krishna knows whom to do, what to do, exactly at that right time. Like when Duryodhana, his mother, who actually tied her eyes, she had a lot of power of chastity. So she realized, man, this war is going on. She said, tomorrow you're going to fight. Do me a favor, you go and you come in the night naked in front of me. I'll open my eye and I will make your body like a steel. Duryodhana went, took a shower from Ganga. He was coming. So Krishna came in, said, "Shame, shame, shame. What are you doing, man? Where are you going? Not wearing any clothes, going naked as such an adult? You shouldn't be doing that." He said, "I'm going to see my mother. At least cover your private parts. You shouldn't be going like that." "Oh, yeah, yeah, that's a good idea." So he covered. When his mother opened her eyes, she started glancing from top. The moment she reached to the private parts, she said, "I asked you to come naked, right? Why did you do so? Why did you cover your private parts?" He said, "Krishna." So she understood nobody can save him, right? And that's the place where he got hit and he's dead. So why I'm bringing this context, Guru and Krishna knows what is right for what, whom. So for Eklavya, Dronacharya said, "You give me your finger so that you are not eligible." So this guy, I forgot his name. I can't recollect this guy's name. So Krishna gave him a boon. You will be able to watch the whole Mahabharat from start to the. Sorry, anyone knows?
Prabhu, did Sanjay?
No, not Sanjay Manji. Sanjay,
Oh.
there was this was a kind of a demon, a very powerful demon. I forgot his name.
It's a hill, right? Probably some hill,
Yes,
some.
yes, correct. He became a hill. He was everything. I forgot the name. I'm just getting old now.
His name is Barbaric, I think, Prabhu.
Bargarik. Yes, his name is Bargarik. Thank you, Satya Prabhu. So that guy was given a boon that you will become a hill and you will watch everything. And then when he was asked, who is a real hero? Because he knew everything, whatever is going on. He has the eyes to have what is Krishna doing in the war field. He knew it from top to bottom. He watched the whole war and he told everyone how Krishna was taking care of everything. Like when arrow is coming to Arjuna, what did Krishna do? The chariot went down. The arrow did not touch Arjuna's chariot altogether. Where did it hit? It hit on the flag. The arrow was targeted towards Arjuna's head, but it did not touch Arjuna's head. It went on the flag, and it broke the chariot altogether actually. But nothing happened to Arjuna. When the whole war was over, Krishna asked Arjuna, "You get down from the chariot." Arjuna said, "Why, Krishna? You get down." The moment Arjuna got down, Krishna got down, the whole chariot broke into pieces. How is that possible? So many arrows were trying to kill Arjuna. Krishna was penetrating all these arrows. Nothing happened to his chariot until the end of the war field. Arjuna got down, Krishna got down, everything broke. The whole chariot broke to pieces. So coming back to your point, Prabhu, that's how Guru and Krishna knows what person has what tendency. Whether it's an example of barbaric, whether it's an example about Dronacharya and Eklavya, whether it's an example about Karna and Parshuram, whether it's an example about Arjuna, Krishna knew, Guru knows what exactly is right for that person. Makes sense, Naresh Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Any any final questions or comments before we wind up? Okay. Nice to see you, Satya Prabhu. Thank you for joining in. We will continue next week. Thank you so much. La Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.